go to a conference and hear other abductees speak and stuff like that. So I show up at this place, and I'm standing out on the sidewalk, and here comes this guy, and he's got this huge, Doug owns Infinite Communications. It's a video production company. I guess today it's DVD now, whatever. But anyway, he has this giant camera on his shoulder, and he's walking by. And I'm standing there, and I went, oh, my God, it's that guy. But I bite my lip. And I watch him as he goes by, and then he gets to a point, and he stops. And when he stops, the camera is wobbling, right? Because he sees me, and he stops. And he turns around, he walks up to me, he says, "Do I know you?" And I went, "No." Do you know why I decided to do that? I decided to do that because I wanted to see, without him knowing it was me, how this would evolve. And it was one of the hardest things I ever did, which was to say no. And then he begins to tell me, I said, "Well, why are you here?" And he says, "I have no real interest in this UFO stuff, abduction junk, you know." He says, "But however, I have this company," and he says, "and they contracted me out to do an interview, and I'm, filming for it." And I go, "Okay," and I'm still keeping my mouth shut about it. And I let this go for months, but the way this thing flowered was fascinating, because this is what made me see a bigger picture with these guys. Then, he says, "What are you doing here?" And I said, "Well, I'm the abductee and all this stuff." And then you could see a change in his face, this programmed, saying this is positive, not negative. And then all of a sudden he has like an interest in it, and he says, "You know what?" He says, "With my company, I wouldn't mind doing a documentary." He says, "Would you like to do a documentary?" And I said, "Yeah, sure. I'm going along with all this stuff." Now, what you're going to see in this video, this documentary, is a guy. He's going to be the commentator for it. He's going to be the interviewer throughout the whole thing. Here's a guy who could care less about the environment. Here's a guy who could care less about the phenomena. And it took several months to produce this video. At that time, I had more money than sense, because I went in half with him at the time. And because to educate the public, that's what I wanted to do, because of what started flowering with this environmental thing, which was the first of many mass abductions. And you're going to see a guy during the course of this thing, how his attitude's going to change, and then you're going to see what he finally became. And then after the video, I'm going to tell you what he's doing now. So I think maybe, how long do we take breaks for? Okay, if we can take a 15-minute break, and then we'll do the video. Pretty cool?
We're going to take a short 15-minute break, and I'd like you to be back in your seats at 9:07, I guess. Okay? We're going to do a raffle, so we'll be coming around with raffle tickets. Raffle tickets are $1 or 6 for $5. I'll let people from the audience talk about their own experiences. So, but we need to have those pre-screened. So we have forms in the back you fill out. We'll choose the top 5 or 10 out of all of that, and that'll become our December meeting, which basically allow people who attend the meetings on a regular basis to come talk about their own personal experiences for all of you. So if you'd like to do that, fill out a form and turn it in to us in the back, and we'll see you then. He came back, didn't he? Jim, you're on. We're ready to go. How do I adjust it? Because it won't go up.
Does it look like I'm still leaning? Or am I okay now? Can you hear me? Do I sound okay? Okay. I'm only going to be up here just a moment. Again, by the way, I'm going to touch into some. The story's going to evolve, and there's and purpose in it, and then I'm also going to share with you a story that touches on, for the science-minded, which I think most of us are here. There was an experience that I had I was pulled, and I was brought back. I was gone for 2 hours, easily 2 hours, and then I was brought back 2 to 3 minutes before I left. And then what I saw as time caught up. And I'm just going to share with you at that point things that I think when the quagmire in time travel, which is if I were to go back in time and see my father and shoot my father, would I not be here? And I've learned things about time. I've learned how resilient it is. I've learned how it's the opposite of the butterfly effect, meaning that little things in the butterfly effect, in a sense, changes big things. It takes just the opposite, a horrendous amount of energy in the past to change the smallest thing that happens in the future. Time is resilient. It's resistant. It doesn't want to change. And then I'll just share a little bit of the things that I saw with you. But anyway, back to this video. Again, it's a documentary, and it's on my story, but it's also it pays tribute to Professor John Mack, who passed away. And thanks. I know he's out there listening, man.